Hello everyone, my name is Caitlin and welcome back to my channel. So a little while ago I posted a poll on my community tab where I had you guys vote on what your favorite Disney Channel original movies were, and so today we are finally going over the results from that poll. Before we jump right into it though, I do have a little bit of an announcement for those of you who missed my video from last week, and that is that we now have a Kate Loves Disney Patreon. And I just wanted to say a quick thank you to everyone who has joined so far. It's been a lot of fun just being able to talk to you guys, and we had a watch party over the weekend as well, which was a lot of fun. And so yeah, if you want to join the Patreon, I'll put that link in the description down below. It's just one tier at $3 a month, and everyone who joins gets one of these photos. Well, not these ones specifically as they are taped to my wall, but I do have a lot left over, and so I've been mailing them out to you guys. So yeah, you can click the link down below if you want to check that out and support the channel. With all that being said though, let's talk about some dcoms. Okay, so when I usually do these types of videos, I will take the results from that poll and just put together a top 10 list, and then I'll post the rest of the list on like my Twitter or something. But this week I wanted to do something a little bit different, as the last time we did dcoms, I ranked them all. And so I'm like, it's only fair that you guys ranked them all as well. So we're going to be going over all 109 Disney Channel movies ranked by you guys. I will try to make this quick. I'm not too sure how long this video is going to be. I have not written a script. I'm just going off of my reactions to these movies and these rankings. But either way, you know what? I'm excited. So let's just jump right into it. Alright, so at number 109, the bottom of our list is Hounded with 31 votes. And you know what? I can agree with this. It's not You Lucky Dog, which I feel like should be last. But it is another bad dog-related decom. This one was about this little devil dog who was just a menace to be around. It had Smart Guy in it. And I feel like his older brother was also from some stuff. But I can see why this one would be ranked last. I have a feeling that a lot of people just haven't seen this movie, and so that's why it ended up being last on this list. But also I feel like it is okay with being last on this list. Like, it's not a very good movie, so I can see why people haven't watched it. Okay, and then at 108 we have Ready to Run with 32 votes, so pretty close call there. Ready to Run was the horse movie. It was the movie about this girl who was a horse racer. And I can't remember much about it besides the fact that I didn't like it and I thought it was really boring. And the horses talked, I feel like. Which is something I think that I forgot to mention when I talked about this movie last time. But it was definitely a thing and it was weird and I didn't like it. But that's Ready to Run. It's definitely not a very good movie, and I can see why it would be second last on this list, and it doesn't deserve to share a name with one of the best One Direction songs. Okay, moving on. 107 is The Poof Point with 38 votes. This one, I feel like I actually did like The Poof Point. Like, I remember enjoying this movie. It's about these kids who accidentally like turn their parents young again, and so they gotta turn them back old again. And it's like a fun movie. I didn't hate it, but I have a feeling, again, people just haven't seen this movie. And so that's why it's 107. I'm not 100% sure if I would recommend it. Smart Guy is also in this movie, so there's that. But yeah, I don't know if I would recommend it. Like, it's okay. Like, if you're just sitting around and you're like, hey, maybe I want to try The Poof Point, like, then go for it. But otherwise, yeah, I don't know. I can see why it would be farther back on the list. Okay, 106 is Jumping Ship with 46 votes. So this movie was a sequel to Horse Sense, and I personally liked this movie better. I don't think it deserves to be this far back on the list. Like, it's a pretty decent, like, stranded island movie. The guy who plays Jack from Girl Meets World is in this movie, and he is just as beautiful as ever. And so maybe that's why I like this movie so much. I'm just biased because Joey Lawrence is in it, and I think that he's beautiful. But either way, I like this one, and I feel like it should not be this low. Number 105, we've got A Ring of Endless Light with 53 votes. This one was the movie where there was a love triangle and dolphins. I feel like it was pretty boring, so I'll accept it at 105. At 104 is Jet Jackson the movie with 55 votes. You know what? I've never seen Jet Jackson, so it's kind of hard for me to vouch for this one. Well, I've seen the movie, but I haven't seen the show that it's like based off of, and I feel like that's probably the case with a lot of other people as well. I feel like if they would put it on Disney Plus, then I would definitely check it out. Because it's quite an older show, I feel like. But the movie was good. I don't think it deserves to be at 104, especially when you think about, like, I'm pretty sure this was the first Disney Channel movie that was based off of a series, so that's really cool. And yeah, I feel like it was a fun movie. I don't think it should be this low. At 103 is Genius with 67 votes. So Genius was like your poor man's Hannah Montana. But it was actually a decent movie. I didn't mind Genius that much. It was basically about this kid who was smart, but then he wanted to go to school with kids his age, and so he pretended to not be smart. And then he was also like going to college at the same time. Very interesting plot. Yeah, I don't know. I like Genius. I didn't love Genius, so I'll accept it at number 103. 102, we have Can of Worms with 71 votes. No. I love this movie. It should not be at 102. Are you kidding me? I mean, I have a feeling people just haven't seen it, but I've been like advocating for this movie for so long. I feel like you guys should have seen it by now. Well, I guess I haven't really been advocating for it that hard. It was in like one other video and I talked about how it was really good. But it was still pretty low on my rankings, I feel like. But yeah, Can of Worms is a really good movie. It's based off of a book. It's about this kid who, like, aliens keep coming to visit him, and it's, like, crazy times. You know what? I'm gonna be honest, I haven't watched this movie in a while, but I do remember loving it, and so I don't like that it is this low on the list. At 101, we have the Scream team with 73 votes, and I am just flabbergasted. Do you guys even listen to anything I say? I feel like I've been rooting for this movie for the past like 3 years, ever since I watched it for that Halloween decom video forever ago. I feel like this movie, I have just been the biggest advocate for the Scream team, and to see it here at 101 just breaks my heart because it's so good. It's about these kids who are kind of like ghost hunters, sort of, not really, but there's ghosts involved. And it's just a fun movie. I feel like if you haven't watched it, please do, but I've been saying that for years and clearly it's not working. Or maybe people have watched it and they don't like it. But I don't want to believe that because it's really good, and I feel like if people did watch it, it definitely would be a lot higher up on this list. Next we have The Jenny Project at number 100 with 76 votes, and this one I don't even think is on Disney Plus yet, so I can understand why people haven't seen it. But it is a really sweet movie. It's based off of a true story about this kid and a monkey. But I do feel like it was pretty slow, so even if people haven't seen it, I feel like this is an okay placement for that one. The Other Me with 79 votes at number 99. So The Other Me was about this kid who clones himself, and it was a cute movie. I mean, I didn't love it, but it was cute. I feel like in my video for it, I definitely really was like giving it high praise, but I ranked it pretty low, and that was just because like in comparison to other decoms, like while I did enjoy this one, it's definitely like not one of my favorites. So yeah, I don't know, I'm okay with that. At 98 is 'Twas the Night with 80 votes. This one was a Christmas movie. I didn't really love it, and so yeah, I don't really care about it being this far back. But I'm surprised because I feel like other people do really like this movie, and so I'm surprised that it didn't really get many votes. But I don't know, maybe again just people haven't seen it, so that's okay. Next is Miracle in Lane 2 with 85 votes. So this is that movie with Frankie Muniz. And he's a soapbox racer. It's one that like when I think back to, I'm like, oh yeah, that was a cute movie, but thinking like back to like the experience I had watching it, it was definitely quite slow and not very entertaining in my own personal opinion. Yeah, I'm okay with it being number 97 because it's not one of my favorites, but I did think it was more popular than 97. But I guess not. Number 96 is Horse Sense. Oh, there it is. At number 96, yes, with 99 votes. So this one is that movie about the kid and his cousin comes to his farm and they bond. I didn't really like this movie, so I'm okay with it being farther back. 95, we have Full Court Miracle with 101 votes, and this makes me sad because I liked this movie. It's about these kids at this Jewish high school, or they might have been younger than that, like maybe middle school age, and they have this basketball team and they want to do well, and so they bring in this coach, and it's just, I don't know, it's just one of those really cute, like, feel-good movies. I have a feeling it's low just because people haven't seen it. But if you're looking for just a nice, like, heartfelt movie, I would recommend watching this one. Even if you don't like sports movies, it's still a fun time. Number 94 is Up, Up, and Away with 101 as well. Oh, so it's tied with Full Court Miracle? No! It should not be tied to Full Court Miracle because Full Court Miracle is a good movie. Up, Up, and Away is not a good movie. This movie should be, like, way farther back on this list. Like, number 94? No. I do not accept that. This movie is really bad. Up, Up, and Away is, like, a superhero movie, but a bad one. It's about this family of superheroes and they all get their powers at a certain age, but like the main kid hasn't gotten his powers yet. And I know that sounds cool or like interesting based on that premise, but it's actually not good. Just take my word for it. This movie's not good. It should not have been given 101 votes in my own personal opinion. I mean, maybe it's nostalgic for people, and so I understand that, but I feel like anyone who's watched it recently would agree with me in that it's not a good movie. At number 93 is Buffalo Dreams with 104 votes, and this is another one I don't agree with. It definitely deserves to be a lot higher up on this list. I feel like I've talked about this one a lot before. I mean, I have a whole video about why Buffalo Dreams is great. I did that for a class, but also I still stand by everything that I said in that video. If you haven't seen it, you should go watch it. It's a very like feel-good sort of movie, and I feel like it should be just a little bit higher up on this list, but I'm not that upset about it. At number 92, however, we have Going to the Mat with 114 votes, and this one I am definitely more upset about because this movie is just so good. It's about this kid who is blind and he joins the wrestling team at this new school, and it's a good movie, and if you haven't seen it, you should go watch it. Like, if I did a video on like top 10 most important DComs to watch, this one would definitely be in the top 5. It's a very good movie. I mean, there are some stereotypes in it that are not the best, but also I feel like the pros of this movie outweigh the cons. And I have a feeling it's only this far back just because people haven't seen it, but that's not an excuse, you know. I've been raving about this movie for a while, and you guys need to go watch it. Alright, you're gonna do that? Great, thank you. Next. Life is Rough. Next we have Life is Rough with 121 votes, and I am just not okay with this. Life is Rough should have been way farther down. I mean, I get that this movie is nostalgic for people, but still, it's not very good. Why is it this high up? 121? Like, that's a lot of people. Really? Life is Rough? Are you sure about that decision? 91, really? Okay, that's fine. Next. Okay, number 90 is Under Wraps with 122 votes. And I can see why it would be farther back. It's the first decom ever made. I'm sure a lot of people haven't seen it, but it's decent. Like, I'll accept this placement. I am curious to see that if once the remake comes out, then people will watch this one. Although I don't even think this one is on Disney Plus right now, which is weird because it's the first decom ever made, and they're also currently making a remake of it. So yeah, they should definitely put it on there so people can watch it. Okay, at number 89 is Tiger Cruise with 131 votes, which I find surprising because I thought that people really liked Tiger Cruise. But I guess not, or maybe people just haven't seen it. It's about these kids who are on this military ship during 9/11, and it's a very like heavy movie. And I like the topic of it. Like, I feel like it's a very interesting topic to tackle, especially for a Disney Channel movie. But I do think that it wasn't tackled in the best way. It's a little bit boring, so I can see why it would be this far back. But I also just have a feeling that people haven't seen it, maybe? I don't know, I feel like I thought this one was really popular, so I'm surprised that it's this far back. At number 88, we have Alley Cat Strike with 136 votes. And I feel like, didn't this one break a record for having like the longest summary on Wikipedia or something at one point? Yeah, that's not really relevant, but I thought that was funny. This is the bowling movie. It's about the kids and their bowlers. It's a cute movie. I don't really love this one, so I don't really care about it being farther back on the list. At 87, we have Stepsister from Planet Weird with 146 votes, and this one is another one that just breaks my heart. Like, I just had to tell myself that this is only because people haven't seen it, or maybe my audience that are voting in the poll are a bit younger than me, so they haven't even heard of it. But it's so good. I don't want to like give a synopsis and kind of spoil the movie because I think this movie is one of those ones where it's great to go in and just not know anything about it. So I'm not going to say anything about it because I feel like you guys should go watch it, even though I feel like we know by now that people don't listen to me anyways. At 86, we have Rip Girls with 146. Oh, okay, so Rip Girls and Stepsister tied for 86, 87. I'm not sure how I feel about that because I feel like Rip Girls was a pretty boring movie when I went back and rewatched it, although I do remember seeing a lot of comments from people saying that they really liked it. So I guess it's nostalgic for people. That's great. I personally think it could even be farther back on this list than it is, but you know, it is what it is. At 85, we have Right on Track with 153 votes. This was the one about the sisters, right? And they were racers. I can't even really remember much about this movie, so I'm okay with that one. At number 84, we have You Wish with 173 votes, and I feel like this was a cute movie. Yeah, I like this movie. It's not like one of my favorite ones, so I don't really care about where it's placed, but I feel like 84 is a fair placement. 83 is Johnny Capahala Back on Board with 201 votes. This is that sequel to Johnny Capahala that came like 10 years later and was just very unnecessary. They were dirt boarders. Max Russo was in it, and iZombie was in it. It's a fine movie. I feel like it was boring and not really necessary, and so, yep, I am okay with it being this far back. 82 is Brink with 209 votes. I'm surprised by this because I feel like most decom lovers love Brink. Like, I feel like I always hear about people talking about how much they love Brink, and it's a fine movie. I definitely feel like it's a bit slow, but I feel like people who have nostalgia for it would probably feel differently. Next is Double Teamed, number 81 with 212 votes. So this was that movie about the tall girls and they played basketball. And I remember when I talked about this movie in my decom ranking video, I feel like people were mad about where I placed it. Like, I think people really liked this movie. So I'm a bit surprised that it's farther back. but I definitely found it to be a bit slow, so no complaints from me on that one. Number 80 is The Ultimate Christmas Present with 216 votes. So The Ultimate Christmas Present, in my opinion, is the best Christmas-related decom that's ever been made. I feel like there is only like three or four Christmas decoms, so it doesn't really have much competition, but I definitely think this one is a very good movie. And I'm surprised that it's this far back because I feel like it is pretty well known. I guess maybe just in comparison to some of the others, I don't know. While it is very well known, I don't know how many people would say like, this is my favorite decom. So I feel like I can see why it would be this far back, but that doesn't mean I'm okay with it. It's a good movie and I feel like it should be higher up. 79 is Don't Look Under the Bed with 227 votes, and this one, I cannot get behind this placement. This movie is definitely one of the best Halloween decoms ever made. I mean, it's a bit scary for the younger viewers, but I don't care. Like, I feel like getting scarred by this movie as a child is just like part of the experience, you know? Like, I feel like this one should at least be in the top 50, at least. I love Don't Look Under the Bed so much, and I always forget until every time I rewatch it, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, this movie is so good. How could I forget? 78, we have Quince with 228 votes. I'm not that surprised by this one because I know that Quince has a pretty decent following. Like, I feel like there's a decent amount of people that really like Quince. I am just personally not one of those people. I found this movie to be really annoying, and it was just like an hour and a half of me watching a bunch of babies cry, and I found it annoying and I didn't like it, but I understand that this one is nostalgic for people and that people like it. I feel like Don't Look Under the Bed and The Ultimate Christmas Present are definitely better than Quince, but you know what, it is what it is. Number 77 is Phantom of the Megaplex with 241 votes. I'm happy with this. I feel like Phantom is definitely a movie that not very many people have seen, so I feel like it could have been a lot lower on this list than it is. So 77, I feel like that's okay. At 76 is Xenon Z3 with 249 votes. So I feel like Xenon, the third one, is definitely the worst one of the three of them. So I'm okay with it being this far back. 75 is Den Brother with 274 votes. So I understand that Den Brother is very nostalgic for people, but if you voted for Den Brother, please just do yourself a favor and go rewatch it, because Den Brother, it really is not as good as you remember it being. 74 is Johnny Tsunami with 278 votes. Johnny Tsunami is like my snowboarding version of Soy Luna. It's a great movie. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's fun. 73 is Gotta Kick It Up with 287 votes. This one was about the cheer squad. It's a fun movie. I'm okay with 73. I feel like it's a bit high, but that's okay. 72 is True Confessions, 304 votes. So this was the movie with Shia LaBeouf, and he played a kid who was on the spectrum. And while I don't think it is a good idea to cast someone on the spectrum who is not on the spectrum, especially when there are so many actors who are on the spectrum who could have easily filled in that role, I do still think it is a good movie. This is another decom that I feel like would be in my top 10 like most important decoms because it is very well made. It's a good movie. 71 is Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off with 316 votes. This is one of those movies that I hadn't seen for the longest time, but I kept hearing about it and I thought that it would be a movie that I wouldn't like, and then I watched it and I was like, oh, no, that's a good movie. And so if you've heard about this movie a lot and you think that you're not gonna like it, maybe give it a try, because I liked it. So there's that. Okay, 7D is Xenon the Sequel with 321 votes. This one I'm surprised by, because I thought that Xenon had like a pretty decent fan base. Maybe not fan base, but like people that like the movie. Like, I feel like there's people out there that like Xenon. I'm one of those people. And the second one's fun because there's aliens in it, and Margie and Xenon fall in love. According to me. And so yeah, go watch Xenon. 69 is Motocross with 329 votes. Have you guys really not seen Motocross? It's so good. It's like the decom Mulan, but with motorbikes. It's good. Please go watch Motocross. I can't even say anything else. 68 is Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire, 335 votes. This one I'm okay with. It's a good Halloween decom, but I don't know. I don't have that strong of an attachment to it, besides the fact that like it's a good one to watch during the Halloween times. At 67 is Upside Down Magic with 385 votes. This is one that I didn't even get to rank because it came out after I did my ranking video, but I feel like I would have put it farther back than this. I didn't really like this movie. I felt like it was very slow and not very good. It's based off of a book, and I have heard from my comment section on my review for that video that the book is a lot better, so if you haven't seen this movie, I wouldn't recommend watching it. I would recommend reading the book instead. Okay, at 66 is the Even Stevens movie with 387 votes. And this one, I'm I'm very surprised by, because I feel like the Even Stevens movie is just one of the best decoms ever made. It's one of the funniest, most lovable decoms I've ever watched in my entire life. Like, I didn't even really like Even Stevens that much growing up, but I was obsessed with this movie. Like, every time it came on, I was just like, yes, we're in for a good time, because the Even Stevens movie delivers on having a good time. So if you haven't watched this movie, even if you've never seen the show, go watch it. It's so fun and you'll love it. So, and you'll probably regret not voting for it. At 65 is Now You See It with 395 votes, and I'm actually pretty impressed to see this one be this high up, because I feel like it's one of the more obscure decoms that I love so much. It's about this kid who's a magician, but then he turns out to be actually a magician, and it's like a great time. And yeah, I'm actually pretty happy with this placement. It's not in the top 50, which I think I would have preferred, but also I don't even remember where I had it on my list, so maybe that's a bit hypocritical of me. But it's a great movie and I really like it. So I don't know, I'm just impressed that it's this high up, because I thought it was even more underrated than that. And number 64 is Hatching Pete with 411 votes. And I feel like this one I'm definitely surprised by. Like, I thought that more people really liked this movie, but then again, it's not one that I feel like I've ever heard anyone say is their favorite decom. So yeah, I don't know, I feel like this is a fine placement for this one. I don't really have any strong opinions about this movie, besides the fact that I feel like the character that Mitchell Musso plays is like the worst human in the world. Or I guess not like in the world, because he does not exist, but he's definitely like one of the worst humans in the Disney Channel universe. And so yeah, I don't know. I don't remember where I placed it, but probably around here too. And number 63 is The Proud Family movie with 417 votes. And this one made me sad, because I really thought that people liked this movie more than this, but maybe it's just another one where like the younger audience just really hasn't seen it, which makes me sad. It's a really good movie. If you haven't seen it, you don't even need to watch the show. You can go watch this movie just on its own. This is another one where I don't remember where I placed it on my list, so I can't really say too much there. But there's definitely some movies that I'm seeing now are above this one that it's definitely better than, so it should be higher. And number 62 is the Kim Possible remake with 469 votes. So this makes me mad. Not because I don't like the Kim Possible remake, I think it's a fine movie, but it definitely should not be higher up than some of these movies that are below it. Like the Proud Family movie, definitely better. Even Stevens movie, 100% better. Now You See It, yes, that is also better than the Kim Possible remake. Like I said, I don't hate the Kim Possible remake, but it's not this good. Honestly, like 62 isn't that high of a score, but when you compare it to some of the movies that it's above, like I'm just like, no! Like I said, I don't hate it. I think it's fine. I made a whole review about the fact that it's not as bad as everyone says it is. But yeah, it's not that good either, if that makes sense. So yeah, 62, ugh. No, I can't get behind that. And number 61 is Smart House with 486 votes. And I'm actually pretty surprised by this placement, because I feel like a lot of the other movies that came out around this time were ranked pretty low on this list. But then I guess it does make sense, because I feel like this one is a pretty iconic decom. But I also feel like, I don't know, like if we're talking about nostalgia, then like sure, this movie can be this high up on this list. It totally makes sense to me. But if we're talking about quality of this movie, I don't know if it really is one of the better ones. But I also haven't watched it in a while, so maybe my opinion would change if I were to watch it again. I definitely agree that it is a very iconic decom. So I don't know, I feel like that's actually an okay placement. I'm not mad about it. And number 60 is Get a Clue with 503 votes. Yeah. I don't really have much to say about this one. It's a fun, like, mystery movie. And it's cool that it made the top 60. Yeah, I feel like people like this movie, but it's another one that I don't think I've ever heard anyone say is their favorite decom, so yeah, not much to say there. Next we have The 13th Year at number 59 with 503 votes, and this one I was pretty surprised by, just because I feel like it is a very well-loved decom. It's the only mermaid movie I've ever seen with a male lead, and I think that that is really cool, and I watched it a lot growing up and loved it, and so it's very nostalgic for me, and I don't know, I feel like I hear about this movie a lot, and I hear about people loving this movie, and so I thought it would be a little bit higher up than this, but I'm also like, I'm okay with this placement, just because every time I go back and rewatch it now, I do find it to be a little bit slow at times. But it's a fun movie. I'd say if you haven't watched it to definitely check it out. Alright, at number 58 is You Lucky Dog with 514 votes. Now, you might be thinking, how on earth did You Lucky Dog get this high up on the rankings? And I was thinking the same thing, and so I did a little bit of research on SurveyMonkey, and I found out that the same person voted for You Lucky Dog over 400 times. So take this ranking with a grain of salt. I mean, I didn't check that for any of the other rankings just because they sounded alright to me, so like maybe my list is like all wacky because of people voting a bunch of times, but I definitely feel like that one might have been more of a joke just because people know that I don't like this movie and I think it's the worst one. I'm just so surprised that someone has so much time to vote on my stupid poll for like that many times. But I guess if you would have taken away all those 400 votes, it would have been like in the 80s or the 90s, which would have made more sense. But yeah, it's up here for some reason. Maybe someone does really love this movie out there, and if that's the case, I don't know. I wish you the best. And number 57 is Pixel Perfect with 525 votes. I love this movie. It's definitely one of my favorite DComs that has music in it, but isn't a musical, if that makes sense. And I don't know, I'm happy to see it this high up on this list. Like, I feel like it is a little bit underrated, but I thought that it was a little bit more loved than this. Like, I thought it would be a little bit higher up, but I'm not gonna complain just because I feel like it made like almost the top 50, which is good. I feel like it's an older one, so not very many people have seen it, but it's a really fun movie and I really like it. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just happy to talk about it because I love this movie so much. Next, we have Dad Napped at number 56 with 544 votes. I definitely feel like Pixel Perfect is better than Dad Napped, but sometimes the cards don't play in your favor. Is that the expression? Sometimes the cards aren't always in your favor. I think that's the expression. Dad Napped is a fun time. Should it be this high up? Maybe not, but who am I to judge? I mean, I guess that's what this whole video is, me judging, but whatever. Number 55 is Luck of the Irish with 594 votes. And now this movie I feel like is very nostalgic for people. I know a lot of people love it. I personally found it to be quite boring when I watched it, but that's just my own opinion. I feel like people really like this movie and that makes me happy. Number 54, we have Return to Halloween Town with 641 votes. This is very surprising to me because I thought that people hated this movie. It's the fourth installment. Is it the fourth? Yes, I think so. Of the Halloween Town series, and they replaced the lead actress in this movie with Sarah Paxton. And I really thought that that was one of the main reasons why people just didn't like this movie. But I guess I was wrong. People seem to like be okay with that, which is fine. I don't know, I don't really have any thoughts or opinions to share on this one, so I don't know. I feel like there's definitely some movies that could have been placed above this one, like Pixel Perfect and a Proud Family movie and the Even Stevens movie are definitely all better than this one. But to each their own, I guess. Number 53 is The Color of Friendship with 667 votes. This one just breaks my heart because this movie, without a doubt, is one of the best DComs ever made. I mean, I gotta just hope that this one is ranked so much lower just because so many people haven't seen it. Like, I only watched it for the first time a couple years ago and was just blown away by how good it was. This DCom handles racism like no other one ever. Like, you can't call yourself a Disney Channel fan if you have not seen The Color of Friendship, so please go watch this movie if you haven't because, yeah, you won't be disappointed. Number 52, we have Xenon, the first one, Girl of the 21st Century, with 693 votes. I'm not that mad about this one. You know, I do love Xenon, but it's not one of my favorite Disney Channel franchises, and so I'm just like, all right. I have a feeling this is another one that just a lot of people haven't seen. So I would recommend watching this one. I wouldn't recommend watching the other one. Actually, no, I would recommend watching the sequel. Maybe not the third one, but definitely the first two I would recommend. No, I'd recommend watching the first one, and then if you enjoy it, then watch the second one. And then you can make up your mind if you want to watch the third one or not. But yeah, I feel like it's a good movie, but I don't really have that many strong opinions on it, if that makes sense. At number 51, we have Stuck in the Suburbs with 700 votes. This one I'm actually pretty happy about. Like, I feel like Stuck in the Suburbs is a bit more underrated, so the fact that it almost made the top 50, like, I don't know, I'm not complaining. It's a fun movie. I really like it. It's another one of my favorite music DComs that isn't a musical. Like, the way that they have music in it makes sense, and I like it. And it's one of those movies where even if you didn't grow up with it, you can still watch it later on and enjoy it. So yeah, it's a good movie. Next. Number 50, we have the Freaky Friday remake with 734 votes, and this just makes me so incredibly happy. This movie is one of my favorite DComs. The music in it is so fun, probably because it is an adaptation of the stage musical, and I really thought that people hated this movie. I guess just because I hear a lot of people being like, oh, why'd they remake Freaky Friday? Like, the first one is so good, or not the first one, but the one with Lindsay Lohan that everyone loves. And I do agree, it is very good, but this movie is just so different from that one because it is an adaptation of the stage musical, and I love the music in this movie so much. And so just the fact that it made the top 50 is like good enough for me. So at number 49, we have Halloween Town High with 748 votes, and I'm a little bit surprised to see this one this high up because I feel like when you think about the Halloween Town movies, you really only think about the first two, but maybe people do love this one more than I thought they did. I feel like this movie is kind of like the original Descendants in a way. You know, you've got all these monsters and they're going to school with the humans. Not that the Descendants villains are monsters, I just feel like that is a decent parallel to make. But yeah, I don't know, I'm surprised it made the top 50. I personally think that Freaky Friday is the better film, but I could just be saying that because I really like musicals and I need to accept that maybe other people don't like musicals as much as I do, but I have a hard time believing that. Okay, next up we've got Go Figure at number 48 with 753 votes. As I'm sure you guys know, Go Figure is one of my favorite DComs. I've got it on my wall. It's just, I don't know, I feel like it's super underrated, but it's also super nostalgic for me, and I just love everything about it. I love all the figure skating bits and the contrast with the hockey team. Just everything about it, I love it so much. Obviously, I would have liked to see it a lot higher up on this list, but the fact that it made the top 50 is like good enough for me. At number 47, we have Halloween Town 2 Calabar's Revenge with 815 votes. And I don't know, I'm surprised that this one is this far back just because I feel like the the Halloween Town franchise is a pretty popular decom franchise. You know, it got 4 movies. That's the most, I think, out of any decom has gotten. I think so. And I feel like Halloween Town 2 is like up to par with the first movie. Like, I feel like they're just equally as good. And so, yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, I guess it depends on where the first Halloween Town is ranked. But yeah, I feel like that's kind of low. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. Okay, at number 46, The Cheetah Girl. Oh, The Cheetah Girls One World. Okay, I almost had a moment for a second there, but it's the 3rd movie, which is okay because I definitely feel like it is the worst one out of the 3. But it's Cheetah Girls One World with 838 votes. I still really like this movie. You know, I feel like the 3rd Cheetah Girls is definitely the weakest one, but I still really enjoy it. I think it's a really fun movie. I love that it was filmed in India, and the songs are a lot of fun. So it's probably ranked this high just because it is a Cheetah Girls movie, but I'm okay with that. At 45 is Cowbells with 891 votes. Alright. Sounds good to me. I like Cowbells, but I feel like I mainly like it just because of Allie and AJ. So yeah. 45? Sure, why not? Next, at 44 is Tangled Before Ever After with 916 votes. This one is a weird one because I feel like it doesn't even really feel like a Disney Channel movie because it is kind of like the pilot episode for Tangled the series. But it is still a really great pilot episode, and I remember when it premiered being super excited and just loving it so much. So yeah, I feel like it deserves a high ranking. So 44 sounds good. At 43 is The Swap with 989 votes. And you know what? I like The Swap. I think it's a decent decom, and people should definitely watch it before they judge it. So 43 sounds pretty good. 42 is Read It and Weep with 1,047 votes. So this is the first one that crossed the 1,000 mark, so it's got that going for it. I do feel like Read and Weep is like one of the best decoms, so it should be a lot higher than number 42, but there's just so many now that we're at like the really, really popular ones that I understand why it would be a little bit lower on this list. But it's such a good movie. If you haven't watched Read It and Weep, please go do so because you are missing out. I need to read the book. I know it's based off of the book and I haven't read it, but I will very soon. I think so. Maybe. We'll find out. Okay, 41 is Bad Hair Day with 1,049 votes. You know, I enjoy Bad Hair Day. I think it's a fun movie. I really like the chemistry between, oh no, I forget her name. Well, I know Laura Marano, but I forget the mom from Good Luck Charlie's name. Oh, this is gonna bug me. Lee Allen Baker. Oh, I'm so impressed that I got that without Googling it. Okay, yeah, I really liked the chemistry that the two of them have together, and yeah, it's an enjoyable movie, but I don't know if I would rank it this high. Especially in comparison to like some of the other ones that it's above on this list. Like, I don't think it is better than like Go Figure or Pixel Perfect. But you know what? The poll has spoken, so that's number 41. Number 40 is Twitches 2 with 1,074 votes. So that's surprising to me because I feel like Twitches 2 is better than the first Twitches, but maybe when you're just thinking about like decoms overall, like Twitches comes to mind and you forget like if you like the sequel more than the first one, maybe, or like people just like the OG. I've talked about this before, but I don't personally think that the Twitches movies are that good. They're super nostalgic for me, and so I always have a fun time watching them, but I accept the fact that like the plot lines are not very good. I do really want to read the books. I've heard really great things about the Twitches series, so maybe I'll get around to doing that someday, but as of right now, I have not done that. At number 39 is How to Build a Better Boy with 1,124 votes. You know what? I'm happy that it got this many votes because I feel like this is a really fun movie. I really like How to Build a Better Boy. I think it's super funny. I love the characters. I like the story. I think it's a fun time. I know it gets like goofed on, but I think it's a fun movie, so I'll take 39, especially looking at how many votes it got. Like, I feel like it deserves that. And number 38 is The Kim Possible Movie, so the drama, with 1,168 votes. You know what? I feel like the Kim Possible movie should have been in the top 30 because it's very iconic and we love it. Oh, this is another one that's an animated show. So there's 3. Kim Possible, Proud Family, and Phineas and Ferb, right? I guess I'll find out. If I'm missing one, I will see. Yeah, I feel like those are definitely all 3 very good movies based off of animated series. This one I think might be my second favorite. Like, I think the Phineas and Ferb movie would be my favorite one, and then this one, and then the Proud Family movie, I think. I don't know. Yeah, this movie's really good. I love it. It was a great finale to the series, and then it was really cool that they were able to pick up the series again for another season because of the fans. And yeah, it's a fun time. I like Kim Possible movie. It's a good one. I think I had it higher on my list, but I would have to double check. Number 37 is Zapped with 1,193 votes. Okay, I get it that we all loved Zendaya, but can we agree that Zapped is not a very good movie? It's so sexist, oh my gosh. Okay, no, I do see where people are coming from, I think. Zendaya's in it, we love Zendaya. It is enjoyable, it's a fun time. Too much? Great song, 10 out of 10. However, I just really can't get past how sexist this movie is. Like, it tries to do something was saying that like men aren't dogs, but still portrays men in just such a terrible, terrible way. And then there's also the non-consensual kissing, which is not fun either, so Zapped is a no-go for me. I'm very surprised that it made it this high up, but to each their own. Number 36 is Frenemies with 1,259 votes. For a second, I thought about the podcast with Ethan Klein and Trisha Paytas, but that's not what we're talking about. Frenemies was that movie where it had 3 stories. Zendaya was also in it. I mean, I agree that it's better than Zapped, but now I agree that all of these movies are better than Zapped. But Frenemies is fun. It's nostalgic for me, and I feel like the way that it splits it off into 3 stories makes it more digestible. That's probably not the right term to use, but you guys know what I mean. It's fine. And number 35 is The Sweet Life movie with 1,295 votes. And I could see this one being ranked so high just because people love the show so much, but I personally feel like the movie is really bad. But I'm also like wondering how many people have actually like watched the movie recently that like voted for it. If you do love the movie and you haven't watched it recently, don't. Because it might change your mind on the movie, because I don't really think it is a very good movie, but I do like the show, and so I can see why people's like judgment would be clouded. Or maybe people like it. Maybe it's really good and I'm missing something. That could be the case as well. Let's move on. Number 34 is Minutemen with 1,307 votes. No, Minutemen deserves to be in the top 10. Like I said in my last video, anyone who doesn't have Minutemen in their top 10, I do not trust them, so I guess I don't trust any of you, because Minutemen should be in the top 10. It's one of the best decoms ever made. It didn't even make the top 30. It's like so close. I'm so upset. Minutemen is so good. I can't get over Minutemen. It's probably one of my favorite time travel movies ever made, along with Meet the Robinsons. Those are both top tier as far as I'm concerned. Wow, number 34? Really? Are we sure about that? I feel like that's not correct. I guess I don't trust any of you guys, eh? That's too bad. Alright, number 33 is Cadet Kelly with 1,319 votes. I can see why it would only be number 33. I feel like it's a good movie, but I have nothing else to say. That's it. It's a good movie, number 33. Alright, moving on. Number 32 is The Cheetah Girls 2 with 1,325 votes. Are you guys okay? Like, The Cheetah Girls 2 is the best one in the franchise, and I'm also looking at this list and I can't ignore that at 31 is the first Cheetah Girls movie with 1,376 votes. So both of the Cheetah Girls didn't even make the top 30. Well, I guess all 3 of them, but we don't really need to talk about the 3rd movie. But the 2 really good Cheetah Girls movies didn't even make the top 30. Like, I feel like the Cheetah Girls is one of the best decom franchises ever made, and I'm just like in shock that it's not even in like the top 30. I mean, I guess it's like this close to being in the top 30, but I just feel like every other movie I'm gonna be comparing to Cheetah Girls now. Especially Cheetah Girls 2, like that's the best one. I'm surprised that the first one is higher. I feel like maybe the younger audience isn't as familiar with Cheetah Girls, but that just makes me sad because they're so good. You guys definitely need to go watch them if you haven't. That's all I'll say. Okay, and number 30 is Halloween Town, 1,407 votes. Sounds good to me. I mean, people love Halloween Town. I love Halloween Town too. I'm one of those people. I feel like when you compare it to like musicals, I would definitely choose a musical over Halloween Town, but I still love it. And yeah, I feel like top 30 is fine. Is the Cheetah Girls better than it? Yes, 100%. 29 is Avalon High with 1,423 votes. No. Avalon High should be lower. Like, it's not better than the Cheetah Girls. Like, sure, it's fine. It's a good movie. But it's not Cheetah Girls level. It's not even a musical. This is making me upset. 21 is Jump In, 1,439 votes. I mean, I feel like Jump In should be like top 15 because it's a really good movie, great story, great songs. But 28, alright, sure. 27 is Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure, 1,442 votes. I'm actually kind of surprised that Sharpay's made it this high up because I feel like people kind of forget about it when they think about the High School Musical movies, but sure, I'm happy she got a spin-off. She deserved her moment. 26 is Wendy Wu, Homecoming Warrior, 1,534 votes. Don't really have anything to say about this one, apparently. I mean, I like Wendy Wu. I don't know if I like Wendy Wu this much, but it's interesting to see that she is this popular. I am proud of her for that. Good job, Wendy Wu. Okay, 25 is The First Twitches with 1,566 votes. Like I said, I think Twitches 2 is better than The First Twitches. I definitely don't think Twitches is better than Cheetah Girls. But there's only so much you can do, and I'll try not to compare it to every single other movie on this list, even though I really want to. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the Twitches movies really aren't that good. I know people love them, but I don't know. I don't love them. They're not my favorite. Number 24 is Zombies 2 with 1,583 votes. I mean, alright, 24, I'll take that. I personally feel like the second one is better than the first one. But I mean, sure. I like Zombies 2, so I have no complaints there. Number 23 is Invisible Sister, 1,686 votes. So, as you guys know, Invisible Sister is my favorite Halloween decom, but that being said, I don't think it's better than Cheetah Girls or Zombies 2. Like, I love Invisible Sister, but it's not a musical, so it's not as good. That's just how it is. But I am happy that it is this high up, as it is my favorite Halloween decom. And number 22 is Girl vs. Monster with 1,795 votes. So I think this means it's the highest ranked Halloween decom. And I just want to know, like, are you guys okay? Do we need to talk about this? I'm just, like, very surprised by this choice. You know, it does have a great soundtrack. Having It Hello is my favorite decom song, and Fearless, Nothing's Gonna Stop Me Now, great songs. The plot of this movie, however, not so much. I mean, I gotta wonder if this is mainly just, like, younger viewers who think this is the best one. I don't know. I really don't know. And number 21 is Teen Beach 2 with 1,819 votes. I'm alright with this one. You know, I think we all agree that this one is not as good as the first one. The ending is just a travesty and we all hate it, so that's probably why it is farther back on this list than the first one is. But it's still a Teen Beach movie. It's still a fun time. I love the songs and I love the characters, so I'm okay with it being like, what was it, 29? 21. Alright, sure, why not? Number 20 is Zombies with 1,870 votes. I'm okay with Zombies being in the top 20 just because I feel like Zombies 2 is the one that should be in the top 20. But I get it, Zombies is the first one, so it's probably like the one that people would think of first, even though the second one's better. Number 19 is Radio Rebel with 1,963 votes. See, I wonder if this is partly to do with the fact that it was a meme recently, like the Radio Rebel hair tucking thing. Or maybe people just really like Debbie Ryan. But I just don't personally feel like this movie is that good, but I also don't hate it, so sure. At number 18, we have Adventures in Babysitting with 2,018 votes. Now, I do enjoy this movie. I think it's a fun time. I love Sophia and Sabrina. I feel like if they weren't in this movie, I probably wouldn't even really care to watch it. But I don't think it should be in the top 20. Like, I feel like it's a fun time, but it should not be this high up, but it is, so that's the way it is. Number 17 is Good Luck Charlie, It's Christmas with 2,169 votes. You know, I feel like this is just similar to The Sweet Life, where people love the show, and so they like the movie because the characters that they love. Whereas I personally don't like this movie at all. It's really bad. But that's just my own opinion. Number 16 is Geek Charming with 2,264 votes. Now, I used to really like Geek Charming. It was one of my favorite decoms growing up. Now, it makes me feel a little bit icky just because of what came out with the actual actors from the movie, as Sarah Hyland had to get a restraining order against the guy who played Josh, I don't even remember his name, for him being abusive. So now when I think about this movie, I'm kind of tainted by that. I do try to like separate the movie from the real life thing, but it's hard to do that. If you're able to do that, then that's great. I try to do that, but it's hard sometimes. Having it at number 16 seems to be a little bit too high for me, especially after I read the book, which is just so much better than the movie. But yeah, that's how it is, I guess. Number 15, we have the Phineas and Ferb movie Across the Second Dimension with 2,348 votes. Now, I'm definitely happy that this one made the top 15 because I think it is the best animated decom to date. I think it should be in the top 10, but that's just my own personal opinion. You know, top 15 sounds good. I'll take it. Number 14 is Let It Shine, surprisingly enough, with 2,511 votes. No complaints from me there. I think Let It Shine's very good and underrated. So, number 14, sounds good. And number 13 is Camp Rock 2, The Final Jam with 2,727 votes. Now, I love Camp Rock 2. It's a fun time. Do I think it should be number 13? No. But you know what? It's a fun movie and I like the music, so sounds good. And number 12 is Descendants 3 with 2,731 votes. Now, you guys know how much I love Descendants. It's my favorite decom of all time. I just love this franchise with all my heart. However, I do think that the third movie is the weakest one in the series. It seems so different in comparison to the other two and just doesn't really stay true to the plot lines that were set up in the first two movies, in my own personal opinion. However, I love Descendants so much and I love the characters and the songs that I am totally fine with however high you guys want to place it. Like, sounds good to me. I love Descendants, so bring it on. And number 11 is Cloud 9 with 2,795 votes. I love Cloud 9. I think it's a great movie. I don't think it should be like almost in the top 10. I didn't realize people loved it this much. Part of me does wonder if people love it so much just because it stars Dove Cameron. But if that's the case, I'm okay with that, I guess. I don't know. I don't think it's the best story-wise, but it's a cute movie, so sure. Alright, so you've reached the top 10, so now's your time to put your guesses in the comments down below as to what you think is going to be in the top 10. At number 10, we've got Camp Rock with 3,025 votes. And I feel like this one makes sense to me. Like, I feel like Camp Rock is one of the first movies that comes to mind when you think about decoms, but in comparison to some of the movies that are ranked above this one, like, I can understand why it would only be number 10 on this list. I do love Camp Rock. I love the Jonas Brothers. Every time I rewatch this movie, it's always a good time. So yeah, that one, sure, top 10, why not? Number 9 is Descendants 2 with 3,230 votes. I love me some Descendants, so Descendants 2 in the top 10 sounds great to me. I don't think I included Descendants 2 in my top 10, but that was mainly because I already had Descendants at number 1, so I was okay with having the second one be just like a little bit farther back. But I'm happy. Put them both in the top 10. Sounds good to me. And number 8, we've got Teen Beach Movie with 3,302 votes. I definitely feel like this one should be in the top 5. Like, it's Teen Beach Movie. We all love Teen Beach Movie, right? I thought we did. It's one of my favorite decom musicals, and the fact that it's only number 8 on this list does make me sad. But you know what? It made the top 10, so sounds good. And number 7 is the Wizards of Waverly Place movie with 3,495 votes. Now, I'm surprised by this one just because I feel like this movie is not one of the first ones that you think of when you think of a Disney Channel movie. But then I'm also not surprised because I know that Wizards of Waverly Place is like the number 1 fan favorite Disney Channel show, so the fact that it would be ranked this high up, like, just, it makes sense. I personally didn't really gravitate much towards this movie as a kid just because there weren't any songs and there wasn't really a main love story. However, I do think it is one of the best decoms ever made. Like, the storyline is so good and their chemistry as a family is just top notch. And so I love this movie, and yeah, no complaints from me. Number 6 makes me sad as it is Descendants with 3,750 votes. I personally feel like it should be in the top 5 just because it was such a phenomenon and one of the biggest franchises that Disney Channel has had to date. And also it's my favorite decom, so that's why I want it in the top 5, but it's not. So that's just the way it is. And number 5 is Princess Protection Program with 3,761 votes. This one surprised me just because, like, I don't know, I like Princess Protection Program too, but that just seems to be a very high ranking. I mean, maybe it's just because of Selena and Demi. That's probably why. I don't know, like, it's a good movie, but yeah, I don't know if it should be in the top 10 or even the top 5, but to each their own. And number 4 is High School Musical with 3,783 votes. This one makes sense to me, especially looking at what the 3 that are ranked above it are. Like, it seems pretty consistent with my comment sections over the years. And it's, you know, High School Musical. Pretty iconic. Number 4. Sounds about right. Number 3 is Starstruck with 4,083 votes. This one definitely made me feel better about where I put Starstruck on my list. I think it was number 7 or 8. It was around there somewhere. So seeing it at number 3 on this list, I don't know, it felt like validating. I definitely knew that people loved this movie, but seeing it ranked at number 3 just gives that a whole new meaning to me. It's a great movie and I'm happy that it's getting the recognition that it deserves. At number 2, we have High School Musical 2 with 4,247 votes. This one makes sense to me as well. You know, High School Musical 2 was such a big phenomenon when it came out, and I definitely feel like it is most people's favorite High School Musical movie, and it has the best songs out of all 3 movies in my own personal opinion. And so number 2 sounds about right. I think it was number 3 on my list, so pretty close. Or it might have been number 4. Or I think I was like not too sure about Teen Beach or High School Musical 2, which one to rank above the other. But I think it was number 3, so pretty close. Alright, and at number 1 we have Lemonade Mouth with 6,771 votes. This one makes total sense to me. Like, I feel like people always say that Lemonade Mouth is underrated, but in terms of the fandom, like, it's not. It's the popular choice. Everybody loves Lemonade Mouth, and for a good reason. It's a great movie. I love the songs, I love the story and the characters. Everything about this movie I love. It was number 2 on my list as well, so I'm right there with you guys. And I'm really curious to see what 2021 has in store for Lemonade Mouth. And so that is your number 1 most voted for Disney Channel original movie. Let me know down below which movie is your favorite or which movie you think should have been ranked higher. I can't wait to read all about it. Anyways, Cater Tots, that is all I have to say for today. I hope you'll have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you very, very soon. Do you guys ever feel like Dove Cameron is just like too much sometimes? Like, maybe I'm talking to the wrong people, but like sometimes she tweets things and I'm just like, you're not a real human. Like, how do you exist? I never lie. It's bad business. It's bad for your soul.